Okay. Let's go to desktop. Wherever you go to, wherever you find your file, you saved your file. And I made the folder 6th of January. Make a folder of whatever date you're on today and into it. There you go. Now make a new file with it's a text document, remember that. Then do what I do. Let's name our program statements.py today. Statements. Say yes if this question pops up. Right, click on that. Open with a notepad. Okay. So let's get started. The things I'm about to tell you right now is going to be very, very important. So please pay attention and at least note or write this down. There are two statements in Python that are very, very important and will help you a lot in your future programs. These two statements are the if statement and the else statement. So let's say if you watched my second video on variables, you should be able to do this. Please go and watch my second video variables if you haven't. So let's say you set a variable a to 5. Okay. Then you say if a equals 5, remember there always has to be an indent here. This is where it gets serious. After if, there must be an indent. You can press tab. Look on your keyboard if you have the key tab, press tab and it should be enough of indent. Or if you want to, you can do whatever amount of spaces you want. Please don't be ridiculous with it. I used to do 3, but normally right now I just do tab because I feel like that's not going to waste so much time. But what you don't do, it will give you huge problems in future programs, is when you do a few spaces and a few spaces and a tab for your indents. Never do that. It will give you an error if you do that. So I say that you should just do a tab for your indent. So let's press a tab and be like, if a equals 5, print 3. So here, I'm going to recall a little bit of what we did last class. Print is a function, right? And true is a string inside the function with double quotations around it, identifying it as a string. So it will print true. Else. As you do for if, you must do the same thing for else. You must indent. I say with tab. Thing is, this is what you don't do. You do a tab for if, let's say, and then you just do 3. You do, let's say, 3 spaces for else. Don't do that because it can also give you problems in the future. So just press tab and then do print false. There. Okay. Now, I want you to pause this video and think. Is there anything wrong with this program? Because there's one tiny error that is wrong with this program. Do you guys know? I don't think you will, because you need to know Python a lot if you to know this error. Talking about errors, I would just like to don't do what I'm doing. I'm just going to make a little text document. You can note it down if you want to, or make another text document too. Open. Okay. Talking about errors, there are three types of main errors in Python. There are many countless amount of errors, but these are the three main ones. First one, a syntax error. Does anybody know what a syntax error is? Well, a syntax error is a type of error that has a problem with the code. So a syntax error occurs when something in the code is not written in the correct Python format. For example, let's say you do, instead of the normal print, hello world, you do print hello world. That would be an example of a syntax error, as print is supposed to be all in lowercase in Python. That's how you're supposed to write it. It's a rule. That's how you are supposed to write it. But you're breaking that rule by putting it in uppercase. So that's what's called a syntax error. It might not give the thing syntax error, but it's still a type of syntax error. Now, here is the second type of error, a runtime error. These runtime errors are much more easier to spot. They are when, I can't give you an example because I have to write a whole code and it just completely shuts down. It's just wrong. It just breaks down. It's a huge problem. And it breaks down. You can't do anything about it. You just need to delete the code. You need to delete some part of the code. It just crashes. Let's just say that. It just crashes. And the program doesn't work at all. They will give you any type of error. Like, let's say an indent error. That's a good example. No, not indent error. There's so many errors. Like, I don't want to talk about the runtime errors because I would have to go more advanced. So I come back to them on another topic. But remember this: runtime error is when the program crashes. It crashes completely. Okay. Now the last error. This personally is the most annoying error for me. A semantic error. For me, this is the most annoying error out of the all three. This is why. The program, yeah, it still runs, but it's not what you want it to be. It's not the exact code. It's like there's a problem. It's a problem in your code. You just need to change it. It's You can change it, but you don't know where to change it. And it takes so much time for you to finally realize what the error was and how to fix it. That's how annoying it is. For me, this is the one that occurs the most. And it can get really annoying sometimes. I'm not going to give you an example for a semantic error because I had to write a whole code for that. And we don't have time for that. Okay. See. Okay, back to the statements, people. Okay. So I'm going to give you some more time. Pause this video and think what the error is and what type of error you think it is. Remember, Python isn't even though it's closer than most programming languages to word English, it's not exactly word English. So what do you think is the problem here? Okay. Now it's time to run it in command prompt and see what the problem is. You need to have watched my first video. I didn't say anything about it in my second video if you wanted to know how to run command prompt. But you don't have to go back. I can demonstrate here. Press search, go to your search bar and go command prompt. I got the new Windows 11, so this might look a bit different if you have a Windows 10, but don't worry about it, they still work the same. And I'd just like to give you a brief history on command prompt before I run this program. Command prompt, in the olden days, when you open up a computer, forget this, forget the top, forget the whole top, forget the bottom, the black screen with that C, semicolon, slash, and that sign. That is the only thing you will see. Because we have not yet developed the GUI, the graphic user interface, which got all the fancy buttons and the pointers and everything. But when there was the less advanced computers, this is it. This is all you would see. But then time went on, computers developed, people got new ideas, they wanted to make it look more fancy, so they introduced graphical user interface, which was more suitable for less experienced people to use. So you don't just think this is Google and say, what is the capital of Russia? Because this is not Google. Okay. So this, you can see, is much more complicated to use. And there's so many functions I don't know. Even I don't know about command prompt. Only like really, really advanced people know so much about command prompt. So let's go back to command prompt. Okay. So, for those of you who didn't watch my first lesson, you need to follow along carefully, because I'm going to run it now. Run this program. So right click on this, press copy address as text. Come back here. Remember you have to type CD. I press Ctrl V. What I did here is this is the address that identifies the file that we've been working in. And CD is basically command prompt. I want to execute the file. So then it will change from C users Joshi to desktop Joshua Python 06 January 2023. This is the name of the file we are going to be executing in, the name of the folder, and inside the folder is another folder, 6th of January 2023, that we will be executing in. So now type in Python and the name of your file, in my case, which is statements.py. Press enter. It should work either here. Okay. See what came here? Familiar with the word? Syntax error. This was what I was supposed to write. Okay, let's go back to our code. I'll explain. If A equals 5, double equals. If you had watched my second video, you would remember that when I was talking about variables, I said that equal sign in Python assigns one value to another value. So in this case, this equal sign assigns a variable A to the value of B. But if you want to say something is completely equal to, like we do in math, we don't do the normal equal sign. We do double equal.